Well, chums, the year 2010 is almost over, and for some of us that means fresh beginnings. But most of us, it doesn't mean anything's changing, really. You're still an unemployable wretch. Your girlfriend still left you. She's not going to take you back. You're watching a fucking fat man talk about video games on the internet. Who'd be interested in you? Anyway, with that in mind, let's look at some really fucking shit video games. Morphex first came to my attention because I saw a magazine review where they gave it a 2 out of 100. And of course, you know, I rubbed one out in glee at this idea that a game could be that fucking shit, and I rushed out to buy it immediately. And I think the most disappointing thing about this game isn't that it's so awful, but that it's just kind of tepid, and I think people have overblown how wretched it is, because that would have made it at least interesting. At least then you could have got some ironic enjoyment from how bad it is. No, it's not one of those games that are so bad it's good, it's just bad. Here's fun. Imagine if Gears of War and Super Mario Bros. Had a baby. A mewling, retarded, deformed little baby with those little atrophied Tyrannosaurus Rex arms and like big bloated legs like the Fly in that half fly, half dog thing, and Ripley's clones in Alien Resurrection. And if a doctor ever saw it, they'd dash its head against the steps of the hospital outside. That is the kind of thing that Quantum Theory is. It's a fucking bulky, heavy, third-person shooter with a cover system that then puts platforming in. It's not only poorly made, it's just fucked from the beginning when you've got that kind of design mentality. And this was designed to help appeal to the West and for Japanese developers, and that certainly worked, hasn't it? Just fucking avoid it. It's one of the most frustrating, poorly implemented, bad ideas in video games. Sometimes there is a good idea that isn't done justice, and sometimes there's just a bad fucking idea that gets worse. So this is supposed to be one of those Japanese horror games, but instead it's basically a paper trail or an Easter egg hunt without any delicious chocolate eggs or paper to eat. Instead, you're just wandering around these corridors with the occasional scary Japanese ghost. You know the kind. I didn't mean that as a racist thing, by the way. I just mean there's a certain kind of ghost that Japanese people do. I don't mean Japanese people, like the kind. Fucking hell, no, just the game's shit, okay? The game's shit. Imagine Grand Theft Auto, except John Candy's corpse exploded all over it. That's a PB. Oh, Hydrophobia. Where to fucking begin? Hydrophobia was billed as this brand new game. The developer even likened it to the birth of electricity. And that's only comparable insofar as if you play it, you'll get fucking stung. Hydrophobia is a really fucking poorly made game. It's got third-person shooting that doesn't work with this horrible little stun gun where enemies get shot and then fly halfway across the room and you keep having to chase them, like that guy in the Popeye movie who keeps kicking his hat when he tries to pick it up. These guys are so far up their fucking arse that they refuse to accept any criticism, but then come out with a patch that is so big they treat it like a sequel release. Hydrophobia is very bad, and you could almost say that it's quite a wet slice of video water. Nolan North rides around on a jetpack and crashes into everything because the controls are fucking shit. Enough said. None of you have heard of the Scourge Project, and if you have, I feel incredibly sorry for you, especially if you bought it. Again, this is one of those Gears of War clones, except they don't know what made Gears of War good, so they just made it bad. I mean, if you can't do something properly, why bother even trying to make it decent, eh? If you're going to do a game that's sole purpose is to be masturbated over, the very least you could do is make the graphics good. And on the PSP we have Dead or Alive Paradise with women that are like shitty compressed JPEGs. They've got artifacts all over them, little black spots on them. Looks like they're covered in blackheads, and that's not sexy. I know a woman covered in blackheads might be a little... Oh. Fucking tired, so much hate. Can't take it anymore. Kane and Lynch 2. Kane and Lynch 2. My god, what a fucking shit game that was. I mean, it's one thing to make a bad game when you're doing it the first time and you've got a brand new IP, and you might have, like, developer commitments that you're rushing to meet, and you might have deadlines that you can't quite get to and budget concerns, but when you're given a sequel, a chance to redeem yourself, and not only do you make the exact same mistakes, but you then add some more in, and then totally take away anything that made the first game redeeming, you've got a fucking problem. Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days is Kane and Lynch Dead Men without the good characterisation, the gritty storyline, and the sheer promise that was there that made the first one, even though it was a shit game, at least enjoyable in some bizarrely morbid way. Kane and Lynch 2 is not only a bad game, it's the most crushing disappointment of the year. And it just proves to me that IO Interactive are just bad developers. They have no excuses this time. For that fucking mercifully short 3-hour campaign, the awful graphics that gave me a headache, and multiplayer that's just a load of fucking wank. It truly is the worst game of the year. I fucking hate Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days.